How many diet apps are there on the App Store? How about a note-taking app or even a clock app? I'm sure you could find countless alternatives to these basic apps. Now here's another question. How many Facebook apps do you have? Or YouTube? Or Snapchat? The point that Peter Thiel makes right at the start of the book is this. The next Bill Gates won't build Microsoft. The next Zuckerberg won't make Facebook. Innovation cannot be copied. According to the author, we need people to take us from 0 to 1, not 1 to n. 0 to 1 is where the magic happens. It's where we build the future. It's where billions are thrown around like spare change. It's where lives are changed on a massive scale. The paradox of reading this book is that you don't really learn how to go from 0 to 1, because if there was such a formula, it wouldn't be 0 to 1, would it? However, Peter Thiel does give some amazing insights on startups and building the future. So without further ado, let's dive right in. 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Startups have a job to think differently. That's how small companies repeatedly end up completely taking over big companies. Larger companies with all their resources and power lose out because they don't have that young blood. They don't have that way of thinking that changes the world. They think in the way that helped them in the past, but that doesn't help them every time. This is how Apple was able to take over even when IBM was a much larger company. They say that a young bamboo is much easier to mold than an older one. The challenge for a startup then is to always remain young so that they can keep learning and growing. I will now share the top 3 insights that I took away from this book. Number 1. Lessons from the dot-com crash. Now if you don't know Peter Thiel, he's the man behind PayPal and Palantir, as well as an investor in hundreds of startups including Facebook. He's been around for a while, and he was there in the dot-com crash in the 90s. Here are 4 lessons that he learned from the dot-com crash. 1. It is better to risk boldness than triviality. 2. A bad plan is better than no plan. 3. Competitive markets destroy profits. 4. Sales matter just as much as product. Number 2. Competition is not all good. This is a big idea. Competition is not good for innovation. Now before I elaborate, I would preface this by saying that I don't think that all competition is bad, and neither does Peter Thiel. However, in the context of business, it can be very counterproductive. I remember back in high school, a bunch of guys would get into a competition of who could hit each other the hardest with a basketball. People would get so competitive, and I never saw them being more athletic. But in the spirit of competition, they forgot the insanity of their activities or even the dangers that they entail. Something similar happens in business as well. According to Peter Thiel, that's how startups lose their souls. The second they enter the larger market, they try to defeat their so-called enemies, and in the midst of that, they forget why they even started. Peter Thiel does say that there are some times that you do need to fight, and when that time comes, you go all out and finish your enemies. But until then, conserve your energy and focus on growing. Number 3. Sales is key. According to Thiel, there is a misconception in the startup world, especially among the core people behind the engineering. If you build it, they will come. This way of thinking claims that if your product is good, people will find it no matter what. This may be true if you're literally the first person selling the cure to cancer, but in most cases, without marketing and sales, your product can die no matter how good it is. I'll give you a small example. For the first 6 weeks of my YouTube channel, I didn't pay attention to social media and I didn't try to distribute my content. I thought that my content was good. Of course people were going to watch, right? No. After I started focusing on distribution, my views on some videos have increased by more than 20 times. Before distributing my content, my videos were just shots in the dark. Sales and marketing have given me the bullseye that I really needed. If you're selling billion-dollar deals like Elon Musk, the intricacies of the sale will obviously be more than posting a few links, but the principle remains the same. You have to sell. There is no escaping it. If you're not selling a product, You're selling yourself to a prospective employer. There's no escaping becoming a salesman, so you might as well embrace it and learn how to do it well. This book is a must-read for anyone who is even remotely interested in entrepreneurship. It's a behind-the-scenes look of what it really takes to build a billion-dollar company. Like Mark Twain said, when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. Get the book and know the difference between going from 0 to 1 and 1 to N. Like and subscribe for more. Share this content if you know someone who needs to see this. Follow me on Instagram at InsightJunky. Leave a comment letting me know what you think. And as always, thanks for watching.